Can we achieve a rational society in this world? I'm going to take you through one thought that I have based in, inspired by Star Trek and some concerns I have. Welcome to Ideas Between Us. All right. I'm a Star Trek fan, and there's a race or a planet species called the Vulcans, and I'm going to consider whether we can be able to progress or should be able to progress to something like the Vulcan Society. um, in Star Trek, it's established that the Vulcans had been very warlike, cruel, and after a while, there were after a long period of social leaders, social activists who push towards a more rational, logical society. They deemed emotion to be of bad taste. So then you get, thus, the Vulcans of Star Trek, depicted in Star Trek, where they're non emotional, they think rationally, they think logically. Um, Spock, the Vulcan character in Star Trek, Spock says that Vulcan has not been conquered within its lifetime. The idea of unliving people and war has long been ancient history. So, thinking about this in a realistic way, could we and should we move toward a society like that? Well, we should not there's certainly, first of all, there's certainly many benefits. um we would be able to not war with ourselves, number one. Number two, we would be able to put our resources towards more logical, rational efforts. um which is starting to sound actually like the Earth Society of the future in Star Trek, not necessarily just the Vulcans. But then you get to removing emotion from the society. And I'd been thinking some weeks ago, um, in terms of Darwinism, in the sense that there are certain qualities in a mate that someone dating would want. Like, for example, if you saw intelligence as something valuable, then you would go after a mate who has intelligence. Well, or beautiful features, attractive features. Over time, we would become a healthier society because each of us in the genetic population, would be seeking more attractive, physically beautiful, or healthier people to mate with. So they would reproduce and have healthier children. Well, if emotion were considered in bad taste, um, we, as or the members in the genetic population, the gene pool would go after people who are less emotional and then reproduce. And then that next population would then be capable of less emotion. And then over time, you would genetically create through evolution, you would genetically create a population that lacks emotion. You could conceivably get a um, a non-emotional species. And while I do like the idea of the Vulcan society, reasoning through, using reason rather than warlike or greed. That's another thing. We could strip away greed. We would strip away aggression towards our neighbors. I would like our society to talk. to actually converse and discuss rather than immediately go to arms and go for our guns and so forth. However, it's a two no pun intended, but it's a two-sided sword. Um, there are cons to that. Um, we would strip away the sense of greed that's helpful. I remember Gordon Gekko famously mentioning in the movie Wall Street, greed works, greed is good. And to some extent, greed is good. Um, we would be ambitious, and as a society and individually, we would be ambitious. Greed motivates us to push for more, push for more. The problem lies in what we are greedy for and whose toes we're stepping on. Um, what what other values we're shoving away that are empathetic towards other people. In short, how much empathy would we lose by also by just relying on greed? So there's a balance there, and that ties in into some interpretation of the Torah, and I've been delving into the Torah quite a bit. The intrinsic values in the Torah. One of them I've uncovered is this contrast between the self and the whole, keeping both in balance. But going back to my point, um, you need a balance of both. There are pros to moving toward a rational society. There's less waste, but the ultimate concern I have, the ultimate concern I have is that we would build a society of sociopaths um, who who I don't want to say lack emotion because I've been watching a few. Well, there's one diagnosed sociopath in particular, who's been posting videos on YouTube, and it's pretty informative what she puts out. Um, they do have emotions, but they're essentially self-centered, from what I gather, and it's very transactional. So we would if we lacked empathy, we would totally become a sociopathic society. We must figure out a way of moving toward a more rational society. Um, that's what I like about the 1960s civil activism, um, social activism towards equality for all, blacks, whites, women, men. Um, we need some kind of empathy, but we should also move toward more rationality. And that's my point. I know that these walls, to go into house cleaning for a bit, I know these walls are pretty bare. Um, right now, I have more immediate concerns on my mind, namely getting a job and being able to pay to continue these videos on this channel. And but I have a workstation, costs about $108 on Amazon to be the perfect workstation. So I put decorating this on hold, the idea of decorating my back walls on hold, and if I can, hopefully, I'll be moving to I'm looking over, I'm not tilting my head. I'm looking over, I'll be filming from a different area of the room, and it'll be a totally different workstation. I won't have to hold this microphone. I'll be more like the professional podcasters and YouTube content creators that I aspire to be like. So after this video, I'm going to read audio, create audio files. I'm going to read scripts for at least one of my podcasts. This is called Paranormal Blind Spot, and it's going to talk about UFOs, famous cases in UFOs. That will probably, at least one of those episodes will probably be posted on YouTube as a video. I'm going to use Canva to put up some a montage of images, but it's basically going to be my audio. And I'm still going to work on sound effects, an introduction, theme music, and so forth. I have the podcasting set up. I just don't. I haven't uploaded many videos. I have 5 podcasts set to go out to Pandora, YouTube. I think YouTube Music, and so forth. So look for that in the future, and I hope you're having a good day. And please support this channel, hype the video if you can. I know you can hype this video. Comment below. Um, Tell me if you're a Star Trek fan. What do you think would have us move towards a rational society? And go to my store, my storefront. It's vvproductions.media. Buy apparel, and there's a mug, there's a trucker's hat. I'll put some other stuff on there, but all the proceeds will go towards paying my bills to keep this channel running. Okay, all right. Thanks. Good day.